Stranger Things is currently on Netflix. All 8 episodes are uploaded right now for season 1. It was created by the Duffer brothers and tells the story of a young boy named Will Byers who disappears, and his mother, a police chief, and his group of friends who are investigating his disappearance, trying to figure out what happened, and some strange otherworldly forces just might be involved in some way. So I'm going to keep this review mostly spoiler free because I have friends who haven't watched it yet, and I'm sure some of you guys haven't seen it yet, so I'm going to be vague about plot details, and I'll just leave it at that. Let's talk about the quality of this show. If you are well versed in cinema of the 1980s or literature of the 1980s, then it's very clear to you that this TV show is very much so inspired by Stephen King's early novels and Steven Spielberg's early films. And if you are a fan of these things, which I just so happen to be, then that's obviously going to be a plus for you. I love the style of this show. It's an instant hook for me. It very much so feels like a movie that Spielberg would have directed in the 80s and that Stephen King would have written the screenplay for. So instantaneously, I'm hooked by the style and appeal of this show just on the way it's helmed. It's obvious that the Duffer brothers are huge fans of this source material because everything from the opening logo, which looks just like Stephen King's font for his earliest books, to many plot elements sharing very similar themes to Spielberg's movies as well as Stephen King's books, it's clear that these guys like this stuff. So part of me right there obviously is like, yes, I like that. That's good. I like the way that feels. You're touching the right places. Everything's good. Yes. But in the long run, we know that style can only get you so far in regards to emotional investment, and this show has got to have some substance and some weight behind it to make us actually care and want to watch more, and it does. The main hook of this show is the disappearance of this boy, the mother trying to search for him, played by Winona Ryder, very well I might add, a police chief played by David Harbour, who slowly gets more obsessed with various possibilities as he investigates this boy's disappearance with a local government agency that just might be involved in some way. The downward spiral of his character in this show for me was one of the biggest hooks. I thought Harbour was really, really good in this show. It was cool to see his character progress and change so much in just 8 episodes. I really dug his character. Also fantastic is the 3 kids who are now searching for their best friend. These kids were absolute gold. They were so funny, so likable, and my favorite part of these characters is that they actually talk like kids. One of the biggest downfalls in regards to child actors and child performances for movies and TV is that adults are writing this dialogue, and sometimes it's hard for an adult to put himself in the mind of a child and write dialogue that a kid would actually say. In this show, the kid's dialogue feels like things that a kid would say. There are times where, conversations just end. Maybe there isn't a big arc or a big important emotional moment for a kid. Sometimes the kid will just be like, who cares, whatever. And that'll be the end of the conversation because kids are like that. And there's also no attempt to censor these kids. They're gonna curse, they're gonna say things like that, and it works that way because it feels like kids. Also, the older brother of Will Byers, played by Charlie Heaton, was excellent in this show because he has a very reserved character. His character is kind of the loner. He's the outsider. A lot of people look down on him, and he finds himself constantly having to explain himself to other people for his actions, as well as Winona Ryder, who goes kind of insane, at least in the eyes of most people, because she's trying all these different ways to contact her son because to her it's working. There's also this weird entity that's going around, and only a few people are seeing it. And so obviously in this small town where nothing bad ever happens, most people look at these people like, yeah, you're nuts. And so there's also that element where you want these characters to be proven right. You want them to get their moment where they're like, see, this is what I've been saying. It's real. You gotta listen to me. This shit is happening. And whenever you have that momentum built up within a show or a movie, it makes you want to watch more because you want to see that justice given to these characters. But I've been saving this character for last because she is by far the best part of this show. The character of 11, a young girl with a shaved head who arrives, who doesn't say much, who clearly has a very damaged past. We learn through flashbacks that experiments were done to her in the past. She also possesses telekinesis. This is easily the most intriguing character in the show, played by Millie Bobby Brown. And this girl was fan-friggin-tastic. She was so excellent in this show. This is like an adult performance squeezed into a little girl's body. She was so real. There was never a scene where I felt like she broke character. There was never a moment where I felt like she wasn't being completely real. She was easily the best and most compelling character in the show, and her performance is Emmy worthy. I mean, she is so damn good in this show. But in regards to the group of boys that are searching for their friend, my favorite character was easily Dustin. This kid was so funny, he was so likable, and what I loved about these guys was their tight-knit friendship. They have their own little code almost, and it was great. I do have one major problem with this show, and it's sort of a gray area, because I've already discussed my love for the homages to various films and books from my childhood that I've appreciated my whole life. But paying homage to something is walking a very difficult tightrope, because you can come off very easily as not doing anything new and just sort of recreating things that you already love and copying off of things. There are moments in this show that are exactly like E.T. 3 kids hiding someone in their basement. This time it's a girl that has weird powers. In E.T. it was 3 kids hiding an alien that has weird powers. There's a scene in this show where they're on their bicycles and the girl is on the bike with them and they're fleeing from the government. Matthew Modine's character in this show might as well be the Keys character from E.T., except in this show his intent is far more evil. There are just a lot of things where you're like, man, that really is exactly like Firestarter written by Stephen King, or man, that is really like Carrie, or man, that's really like E.T. And you just see all these connections and it's like, I love that you're attributing it, but man, that's really like that. So like I said, it's a difficult tightrope, and I would say the show mostly succeeds, but it did bug me after a while just how many tributes there were. And I'm very excited to see another season, and I hope that in season 2, it's a little more original. I like the way the season concluded, but I do want to see more, and I hope that certain things are explained a little more, because there's a lot of questions, which is to be expected in a show, so I can't really downgrade it for that, because I'm assuming that some of these unanswered questions, how various things came to be and what was actually going on, will be answered in other seasons, and hopefully we get a season 2. That being said, I had a great time watching Stranger Things. I would recommend it, and I'm going to give it an A-. It's on Netflix right now. It's only 8 episodes. I do highly recommend checking it out. Also, I want to give a big thank you to all the people who did purchase my book. It's currently available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble across the country. It means a great deal to me that you guys have shown so much love and support for something I worked on. And man, I seriously just want to say thank you. You guys are the best. I have a link on my homepage on my YouTube channel for that book if you'd like to check it out. It's available on ebook or in print form, and like I said, at Barnes & Noble across the country. Thank you so much, guys, for checking out my book. It really means the world to me. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for watching, and if you like this, you can click right here and get Stuckmanized.